The price of Bitcoin is sat just above $90,000 and it came down and tested the low at $89,000. Yesterday I explained I expected to get to around 92 while the price was up here at 95. But with this extra drop down happening on top, what is going to happen next? And rather ironically, while the market has been crashing this past week, the White House decided it was an appropriate time to have the McDonald's summit. Maybe crypto's not working out, maybe you're fancying a new job. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice, investment advice, or any form of recommendation. But here at that McDonald's summit, Trump had something pretty good to say, to be honest.
But the stock market has hit an all-time high 48 times during the last 9 months. So we're going to pioneer new heights even from that. These new heights of prosperity are going to be incredible.
And it is true, the stock market has made consistent gains all year. Literally just look at the S&P 500 chart here. Although, yeah, sure, we've had a bit of a dip. The general trend is up, the general trend remains up unless something really bad happens. You get dips during bull markets. That happens. Back in 2017, we'd had a bull market, several bull markets where the price had risen from 600 up to 1,000, back down to 800, back up to 1,400, doubled in price 50%. Then it rallied all the way to $3,000, and then from $3,000 everyone screamed bear market. The price dropped 42% before then going on to make an astronomical gain all the way up to $20,000. What I'm saying is, just because the market's down doesn't mean that we're in a bear market. You get massive dips in bull markets. That happens. You just have to have the conviction and confidence to buy the dip. The only credible evidence that there is for any kind of bear market right now is that the 4-year cycle is over. But how can you trust an indicator that wasn't designed or made around the current economic environment? Having said all of that, UTXO Times had this on Twitter earlier. This is an interview with CHAMATH, PALIHAPITIYA, who is one of the world's richest people, famous for doing SPACs, a multi-billionaire, and he had this to say about Bitcoin.
If you look at some of these other markets, it's really incredible. Bitcoin is about to break through 100,000 to the downside, which I think is a psychological barrier that probably has another 5 or 10% more to run. There's a dispersion happening in the Mag 7 as of this past quarter earnings. So
now, first of all, when he said that Bitcoin was dropping below 100K and it has now done the full 10% reset. So first bullish case right there. Chamath's price prediction came correct and hopefully we're done dropping. Second thing about this is this guy right here. You see Chamath, multi-billionaire. This is a pretty important phone call going on. This guy here, he's called David Sachs. What we've got here is a billionaire getting on a live stream with President Donald Trump's named Sachs the White House AI and crypto czar for the incoming administration. This guy is in charge of AI and crypto within the US government. And the guy's out there doing like stock picks and stuff on a call with CHAMATH PALIHAPITIYA. Like, I just don't know how you can be bearish on this market with like a long-term vision of expecting it to crash. Like, everyone's just getting full on carried away with this drop. In my community this morning, we actually started taking, if that wants to focus, there we go, long positions. We started taking long positions this morning in my community. Only small ones, only starting to dig away at it, but 150K into ETH this morning in a long position. I'm optimistic. I really think that we're pretty close to a bottom. I fired in another 15 grand into Sol this morning. I'll do another 15 grand this evening. We're getting towards that point, I think. However, back to the news. Charles Hoskinson, reported on by Coin Bureau earlier today, was at a CoinDesk conference. And in this interview, he discusses the impact of Trump on crypto. Just bear in mind, this man is a founder of Cardano and a multi-billionaire.
Everybody entered, myself included, 2025 thinking that the Trump administration was going to be this magic net positive for the ecosystem, because he's literally, the US government has become a bag holder. You know, it's like, that's the biggest economy in the world, and it's gone from trying to kill crypto to embracing crypto. But sometimes by having the big guy hug you, they hug too hard, and they love too much, and it kind of crushes your ribs. Kind of like Lum from Goonies. So what we're having to contend with is the US government, in a very hand-fisted way, has been, in some cases, a little unhelpful to the industry. So it created an irrational exuberance, and it interfered with our normal 4-year cycle that we have, and we're trying to sort all that stuff out.
I just thought it was quite an apt reference, and it's completely true, because sometimes the big brother does hug the little brother too hard and accidentally strangles him. And that's what happened to DAPP Radar. After 7 years in business, today DAPP Radar has shut down. And I bring this point up mainly because of altcoins. If we are going into a bear market, then this is going to happen to so many of your altcoins. Now, it's nice that DAPP Radar point out the fact that they are shutting down. But DAPP Radar does have a coin, and that coin is down another 40% today. And no doubt, as the news gets more and more infiltrating the ecosystem, it'll continue to get worse, will this? Understand, you should never marry your bags, and at the first point of any kind of thing, you should sell, which is a while ago now. I've made the mistake myself many times of holding something well beyond the point of no return. And a lot of these platforms that do go out of business put their token in something called a DAO, call it a decentralized autonomous organization, and just completely wash their hands of it. And that's exactly what's happened here. The company operates without making money for 7 years, raises a bunch of money off a coin, makes a bunch of money off you, and inevitably goes bankrupt because they have no profit model. It's not the fault of the coin, it's the fault of the investor for funding it. So in future, when we get the next cycle, don't give your money to people that don't have profit models. And speaking of profit models and the government hugging crypto too hard, Trump has a lot of fingers in pies and another finger that he's got another pie in, or fingered pie, whatever. The Trump organization is partnering with DAR Global to launch the Trump International Hotel Maldives, which will be the world's first tokenized hotel development. And when we talk about useless applications of crypto that will never go anywhere and are fully built towards fundraising and are purely just sucking money out of the market, this is one of those. I think the main problem with the Trump administration so far hasn't been that they've not done a good job. They have done an excellent job, but the problem is the president himself keeps scamming everybody. Drop a like if you agree. Like Trump coin, all the NFT stuff, requiring companies to donate a bunch of money directly to Trump just to have special regulations approved. Like, I like it because we've needed it for years, but society-wise, it's not good. Having said that, we still continue to plug forward. Connor Kenny reporting on Twitter today that Franklin Templeton's spot ETF for XRP is set to launch tomorrow, which is now today. And this is one of the reasons I buy dips. I buy dips because the progress and the investment doesn't stop. It continues plugging forward. 4-year cycles are a fallacy. They're in your head. It's not something that actually exists. And if you continue working, building, investing, reinvesting, investing again throughout a bad period of time, I'm telling you now, in 2 months, we're going to be sitting pretty. We're going to be in a good position because when the hype comes for the $2,000 stimulus package reported here by Grey BTC on Twitter, by giving $2,000 to every lower and middle class American out there, that money's going to hit the market, but it'll hit the market before the money is distributed because there'll be hype leading up to it. And if that's going to get distributed in May, you can bet that that hype's going to probably come in around February. And if that's the case, we have 6 weeks. 6 weeks until February. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 8 weeks or 9 weeks. But it's not that long, my point is. The hype will start in the new year. There'll be the whole new year, new me. Everything's going to go amazing again. Look at this amazing new year. Someone will drop a bomb within 3 weeks, but like that'll happen at the start of the new year. But now it's time to discuss the gruesome twosome. Michael Saylor and Tom Lee both have lost billions and billions. Tom Lee has lost $3.6 billion in like the past 3 days. This guy is losing money hand over fist right now, and so is Michael Saylor, especially because his stock price has collapsed by 50%. And in this video, we are going to go through and analyze the chart here on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana to get an idea of where the market is headed. Just before I continue talking about what's going on with Tom Lee and Michael Saylor, if you wouldn't mind, drop a like on this video. I'd really appreciate it. It makes me feel better about making the videos, because as I say, I earn about £13 per video in ad revenue, so it's more of a labor of love than anything. So if you wouldn't mind and you enjoy the videos, do drop a like on it. I'd appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. My name's Jordan. I've been making these videos since 2016. I've been an investor in Bitcoin since 2013. I watch these things go up and down all the time. Sometimes we make money, sometimes we lose money, but we've never really lost in the long term because I started with nothing and I don't have nothing anymore. But as I say, we need to talk about more about Tom Lee and Michael Saylor, because you've got to understand, are these guys coping or do these guys know something? Tom Lee went on CNBC just yesterday to discuss his current portfolio outlook and where he thinks the market is headed. The question is, does he look like he's sweating?
I think the good news is there are signs of exhaustion. I did speak with Tom DeMark of DeMark Analytics, and you know, he thinks there are signs that would look like a bottom that could be occurring sometime this week.
So does that look like a man that's coping with a $3 billion loss, or does that look like a man that expects a bottom? To me, he looks pretty unsure of things, but at the same time, the fact that he looks like he's been sweating kind of makes me a bit bullish. Something else that's making me feel a bit bullish is I've been keeping an eye on this trading wallet here on Hyperliquid recently, and he's been shorting a lot of Solana. He was previously short $52 million of Solana and was in quite a sizable position of profit. Look here, he was up to $15.2 million. He was sat in a $14.7 million profit, and he was highly leveraged. He has now closed all of those trades for a grand total profit of $13.8 million, but he is not short Solana anymore. This is one of those wallets that seem to know something ahead of time and has now taken profit on all those trades. So the fact that there is no longer this downwards pressure coming from these people that clearly know something, I think is a very bullish thing. Don't forget, we've recovered quickly in the past. I covered what happened in 2017. Here's another example from 2020 where we had perceivably a very nice run up from $8,200 all the way up to $12,000, $13,000, and then we had a big old crash back down to 9K, and then it was all the way up to 26 and beyond. We could be at that exact same point in time. Stars do align sometimes. Something else that I really actually believe in here as being a very strong indicator, highlighted by Crypto Burb on Twitter, is that Robinhood is introducing shorting for mobile users may in fact be the bottom signal that we needed. Now, Robinhood previously you couldn't short Bitcoin on there, but now you can do, and they've rolled it out cross-platform, which probably means it's time to trap a bunch of people on Robinhood and then send it in the opposite direction. And finally, just before we go on to analyze the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, we have here the ETF flows for the past week or so, and there was one that I wanted to highlight to you. On the 13th of November, which is now 5 days ago, nearly $1 billion left ETFs, $866 million. Yesterday, 492 million, or rather not yesterday. Yesterday was 74 point whatever. Either way, point is, we can start to see from this chart, sure, a small amount of selling pressure. We've seen it in the past. You see a small amount of selling pressure. Markets can't cope with institutional selling pressure because when you have institutional selling pressure, you only have retail buying pressure. So when you have that, it causes the markets to decline quite aggressively. But overall, the uptrend is so solid, so obvious, I don't know why you would be betting against it long term. But now it's time to analyze some prices. We're going to start out here with Bitcoin, which is currently just hovering above $90,000. Just above, but still above is as good as anything. Now, if we go down to the 5-minute chart, I first of all want to get a bit of perspective here, as well as delete some of these red lines off that I've been drawing for the earlier part of today's video. Now, if we look at what's going on here, first of all, we want to be looking for a resistance level of which we can approach and then break through. That's going to come around here. So at the point of which we break this downtrend, the prices are going to loop back around, and that break's going to come around $90,600. My best expectations would be we spend the next few hours kind of chugging upwards, one more big smash down, and then it's all over. And then it'll be like a rebuilding mission over the next month or so. But I do think we're approaching the period of time where you could say it's actually a very safe period of time to buy, because when this does start recovering, it'll recover just as aggressively as what it's come down. It always does, and you always see the same sentiment and whatnot. But you've got to basically wait here for the break of $90,600. A break of $90,600 is going to come up to about $91,900, at which point in time probably gets rejected again. But I don't like to look at these short-term time frames here. I much prefer to use something like the 4-hour chart, but just because you get the general market understanding, general market direction, you get a lot more data here with these levels. You can see at the side of the screen here the VRVP levels. If I just go full screen for a second so you can actually see what's going on, we can see that we've got a level here down at 84,000 that seems perfectly plausible, another level up here at 96,000, and then the biggest level here is 105,000. So the most likely scenario here that we could say is, okay, we've lost that level of support, probably crush it down to here, and then all the way back up to here as we make some kind of larger overall pattern. It's difficult to say, isn't it? But like, who knows? Who knows? But my expectation is that this recovers just as fast as it's come down. Now, if we go over to looking at what Solana is doing right now, I'm bullish on Solana. I keep buying Solana. I bought a bunch more at 133 and 134 this morning. I'll buy a bunch more this evening, and every kind of 12 hours I'm sticking in about 15K at the moment, and I just continually do that every 12 hours until it'll start going up again, and then I'll stop. And then I'll just wait, and then I'll cash out on people when the prices are getting high again. And I'm saying, oh, the price will go to $1 billion, but actually I'm there just dumping on everybody. That's what I'll do. That's how you make money in this game. You don't make money by leaving it on the table when you've got profit. Like, gone are the days in my head where I'm waiting for 1,000x. I wait for a 2x with a lot of money. I cash out, and then I rinse and repeat. This is a strategy for the past year or so. It's been working incredibly well for it. It means that I managed to actually rebuild some of the bull market gains that I had from 2021. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. It's a bit of a rebuilding mission. But either way, we've been so consistently profitable for a while now. It's been great. Anyway, Solana, sure, it's low in the range. What else do you want me to say? It looks cheap. I think you should buy it. That's as simple as my analysis is going to get. I think you're an idiot for not buying this, to be honest. At the same time, Ethereum, I think it's cheap. Sure, it can go lower, but what are you? Are you an absolute P? I have many words for people that don't buy dips when they get such extreme discounts and then wait to buy the top again. Why not just buy? Like, sure, you could wait to buy down at 2,500. Absolutely, it'll probably happen. But the thing is, on the way up, it won't matter whether you bought at 3,000, 2,700 or 2,500. That won't matter because this here is all going to get evaporated. As soon as you hit that level, boom, straight back up again. And when we're back up at this level, it won't matter whether you bought here, here, or here. At the same time, there were people on the internet that say, oh, you're an idiot for buying too early. Look, so what? I'm richer than these people because I deploy this strategy every bear market. Every time we go into a period of decline, I start buying, and I buy more aggressively the lower that we go. If you want a Ferrari, you want a Lamborghini, you've got to have confidence and you've got to do something different than what everyone else is doing. The man that drives the fancy car to the Tesco or whatever, he did something different. He didn't follow that same path. That doesn't mean by guaranteeing that you do something different, by the way, that it will be correct. Always exercise caution and don't over leverage yourself. You don't want to end up in a bad situation. But yeah, when we start looking right now at these liquidation levels here, like at Bitcoin, for example, we've crushed everything. There's nothing left. There's no more liquidations. There is for sure, but like, we've crushed everything. These levels up here at some point are going to be magnets. And when they become magnets, you want to have your magnet already deployed. And if you're looking for a good place to deploy your magnet, try WEEX. You'll find the link at the top of today's video description. You get a 50% deposit bonus. Up to $30,000 of bonuses are available. Fantastic exchange, 25% fee discount when you use that link in the video description. I'm in a long position right now. If you want to stay up to date with my trades as soon as I take them, then you can join Crypto Saving Expert. It's got a whole host of education, thousands of hours of education. And if you use the discount code in the video description, you get 35% off. Make sure you click on the monthly plans because in here is where I update every single time I place a trade. Like, I spend all day in here, like 17 hours a day in this Discord. But it's not just Discord you get access to. You get access to thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of courses and information that will help you master this industry like I have. But on that note, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. See you in a bit, everybody. Have a nice day. Bye.